Life took them in different directions, but destiny had one more chapter for them. After 20 silent years, two former sweethearts meet again. Older, wiser, and carrying the weight of everything they never said. What follows is a tender story of healing, rediscovery, and love that waited patiently in the shadows. If this touches your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. He first sees her across the hotel lobby in Accra, standing under a hanging light shaped like a golden drum. For a moment, his mind refuses to believe it. The woman with the calm eyes and small, careful smile looks like a memory that grew older while he was not watching. Her name used to be Sumi in his mouth, a soft sound he whispered during late-night study sessions in the university library. Now, on her name tag, he reads, Dr. Sumi Karim, guest speaker. His chest tightens. Dark stands still, clutching his conference folder, hearing the faint hum of air conditioners and the distant city traffic. 20 years is a long time. Beards grow gray. Dreams change. Hearts gather dust. Yet as she turns, as their eyes lock, the world shrinks. The lobby noise fades into a blur. He feels again like the boy who once waited outside her lecture hall, pretending to read so he could walk beside her. Sumi blinks, and a small shock flickers in her gaze. She knows him. She remembers. She does not move at first. Her fingers stay wrapped around the strap of her handbag, knuckles pale. When she left campus all those years ago, she promised herself she would not cry again over the boy who stayed behind. Now here he is, older, broader in the shoulders, hairline quietly running from his forehead. But she would know that crooked smile anywhere. Darek. The name rises like smoke in her chest. She watches him walk toward her, each step slow, as if he is afraid that if he moves too fast, she will disappear. Sumi, he says, voice lower, a bit rough. She gives a small laugh, surprised that sound can still come out of her. You still remember my name? She asks. Every letter, he replies. Her heart misbehaves at his words. She adjusts her glasses, trying to sound normal. It has been a long time. He nods, eyes soft. Too long. For a brief second, they just stand there, facing each other, as conference attendees rush past them with tote bags and lanyards. Someone bumps Darek's shoulder, murmurs an apology, and keeps moving. The smell of coffee from the nearby cafe curls around them. Are you speaking here? Sumi asks, pointing to his badge. Panelist, he answers, lifting it. Technology and social change. She smiles faintly. You really did it. All those big plans from the university cafeteria. He chuckles. You mean when I kept saying I would change the world with a laptop that kept shutting down every hour? Sumi laughs, and the sound opens some old window inside her. Yes, that one. There is a pause. Old questions float between them like invisible birds. Where did you go? Why didn't you call again? Why didn't you fight for us? None of them are asked. Instead, she clears her throat. I should check in. My flight just landed. He nods, disappointment flickering in his eyes. Of course. Maybe we could catch up later? Coffee. Dinner. She hesitates. Then she hears herself say, coffee would be nice. He watches her write her new number on the back of his conference program. Her handwriting still small and neat. You still curl your sevens, he says, noticing. She looks up, surprised. You still notice, she replies quietly. When she finishes, she hands him the paper. Their fingers touch for a second longer than needed. A warmth travels up his arm, and he pulls back before it shows on his face. I'm staying at this same hotel, he says. If you're free this evening, maybe we can meet at the rooftop cafe? I heard they have good tilapia. She smiles at that. You and food, she says. Some things never change. He shrugs lightly. I am still loyal to grilled fish and stubborn dreams. Her eyes soften. All right. 7 p.m. 7, he agrees. She picks up her suitcase handle and steps back. See you later, Darek. Hearing his name in her voice again makes his stomach flip. See you, Sumi. She turns and walks toward the elevator, her blue dress swaying gently. He watches the doors close on her reflection, feeling like the past has just reopened a door he once nailed shut. In her room, Sumi leans against the closed door for a long minute, suitcase still untouched. Her heart beats too fast for a woman who has seen half a century of life. She walks to the window and pulls the curtain aside. Accra stretches beneath her in sunlit blocks and moving cars. The sea glows faintly in the distance. She remembers another city, another time. University days when she and Darek shared cheap meals, heavy textbooks, and impossible dreams. She remembers the night they decided to break up because she had to leave for a scholarship abroad, and he felt bound to family responsibilities. "We will only hold each other back," she told him then, voice shaking. "We will hurt each other," he replied. They promised to stay in touch. For a while they did. Emails. Calls. Then life happened. Her marriage. His silence. Her children. Her divorce. Now, after all this time, seeing him again has stirred feelings she buried under busy schedules and grown-up worries. She sits on the edge of the bed, rubbing her forehead. "It is just coffee," she tells herself. Two adults catching up. Nothing more. But the tremor in her hands says she does not fully believe that. Dark sits at a corner table in the hotel cafe, laptop open, but the screen might as well be blank. His mind is full of Sumi. He remembers her as a young woman with endless braids and a serious face that softened when she laughed. Now her hair is shorter, streaked with a bit of silver near the temples. She carries herself like someone who has survived storms. He knows something about storms. His own divorce left him raw and tired. Co-parenting with a woman who once loved him, but now can't stand his presence, is a daily test. His grown son speaks to him politely, like a colleague, not a child. His grown daughter calls when she needs money or advice. He does his best. Work has been his anchor, but also his hiding place. Seeing Sumi again feels like a light switched on in a room he had forgotten. His colleague, Fari, walks past and notices his distant expression. "You look like you saw a ghost," Fari teases. Dark smiles faintly. "Something like that." "Old friend?" Fari asks. Dark pauses. "Old everything," he says softly and closes the laptop. At 7 p.m., the rooftop cafe is washed in warm lights, with views of the city spreading out like a gentle sea of windows. Soft music plays from hidden speakers. Sumi steps out of the elevator, smoothing the front of her simple cream blouse. She has changed from her travel dress, hoping to feel more like herself and less like someone caught off guard by history. She scans the tables and sees him near the edge, back straight, gaze on the skyline. He looks up as if he senses her. Before he sees her, his face brightens. He stands. "You made it," he says. "I almost thought you would run away." She smiles. "I thought about it," she admits. "But I got tired of running from things." He laughs, a short, honest sound. "Sit, please." He pulls out the chair for her, a small gesture that surprises her with how natural it feels. She sits. A waiter appears with menus. They pretend to study them, though both already know they will pick whatever comes with grilled fish. Old habits are hard to kill. "So," Dark says after they order, resting his elbows on the table, "tell me about your life." Sumi raises an eyebrow. "That is a big request for one evening." He nods. "Then start with the part you are not hiding," with that professional smile. She looks at him, taken aback by his directness. "You still read people too well," she says. "You still try too hard to look fine when you are not," he replies gently. Her throat tightens. She sighs and stares at the flickering candle between them. "I was married," she begins. 22 years. 2 children. We tried. We really did. But somewhere along the way, we stopped being us. We became a schedule. A duty. A habit. He cheated. I forgave. He cheated again. I forgave again. Then one day, I woke up and realized I had forgiven everything except myself." Dark listens silently, jaw clenched. "I am sorry," he says softly. She shrugs, though her eyes glisten. "It is done now. We are civil. Our children are grown. We live in the same city, but in different worlds." She gives a small half-smile. "And you? Your ring finger is empty too." He rubs his thumb over his bare ring finger, a habit he has not yet killed. "I was married for 18 years, he says. "We were both ambitious. We thought love could be managed like a project. Deadlines. Goals. Metrics." He smiles bitterly. But feelings do not follow spreadsheets. Sumi gives a soft, sad laugh. They never do. He looks out at the city lights, remembering raised voices in a quiet house, long nights sleeping on the couch, the final conversation where his ex-wife said, "I am tired of feeling like a colleague, not a partner." "We grew apart," he says simply. "Or maybe we were never as close as we thought. In the end, we chose peace over pretending." Sumi studies him. "Do you regret it?" He thinks for a while. "I regret the hurts," he answers. "I regret the times my children saw us fighting. But the divorce itself, I regret that we needed it, not that we did it." She nods slowly. "I understand that." For a moment, they sit in shared silence, each tasting the bitter and gentle truth that comes only with age. Their food arrives, breaking the heavy mood. The grilled tilapia steams, spiced and golden, with sides of plantain and fresh salad. At least some things are still good and simple, Darek says, picking up his fork. Food does not argue back. Sumi laughs, grateful for the lighter tone. Unless you burn it, she says. Do you still cook, he asks. She smiles. I had to. 2 children, small salary at the start. Cooking was survival. I remember your jollof, he says. It nearly made me propose at 21. She arches a brow. Nearly? He laughs. Okay, it did. I just did not have bride price money. She shakes her head, laughing with him. The humor feels like rain on dry ground. What about you? She asks. Can you cook now, or do you still burn water? He pretends to look offended. Excuse me, I am a responsible adult. I have mastered noodles, eggs, and one very serious stew. One stew, she teases. We are growing, he insists. They eat, talk, and tease each other, the years slowly peeling away as if pulled off by gentle hands. After dinner, they move to the railing, each holding a glass of juice. The air is cooler now, the city lights brighter against the dark sky. Sumi leans on the metal bar, feeling the gentle breeze on her face. Do you ever think about those days? She asks quietly. University? Darek nods slowly. Sometimes. Usually when I am stuck in traffic or stuck in a spreadsheet. She smiles. Do you remember how we used to stay up late cramming? Of course, he says. You would make those strong coffees that could wake the dead. I would pretend to understand everything until you caught me dozing. You never pretended well, she says. Your head would start dropping like a broken fan. They both laugh. Then her smile fades a little. Do you remember our last night before I left? She asks. His face sobers. I remember every detail. The bench near the old library. The rain threatening but never falling. The way you kept tracing lines on your jeans so you would not look at me. Sumi swallows. I thought you did not want to see me cry. He shakes his head. I did not want you to see me cry. She turns to face him, emotions swimming in her eyes. Why did we let go so easily? She asks. He takes a deep breath. It did not feel easy to me, he says. My father was sick. My younger sisters depended on me. Leaving the country with you, even if I wanted to, felt like abandoning them. And you were going to a world I did not understand. I told myself you would find someone better there, someone who could keep up. Sumi frowns. You never said that. I did not want to burden you, he replies. I was proud and scared. Bad combination. She sighs. I thought you did not fight for us because I was not worth fighting for. His eyes widen. Sumi, no. You were worth everything. I just did not know how to hold you and hold my family at the same time. She looks down at her glass. We were so young, she whispers. We thought love meant always choosing the noble sacrifice. He nods sadly. We did not know that sometimes love means staying and building something messy and small, not grand and perfect. The music changes to a slow, soft tune carried by a saxophone. Couples at nearby tables lean closer. Someone laughs. Someone takes a selfie. Life goes on around them. Inside, old wounds are quietly shifting. Do you hate me? Darek asks suddenly, voice low. She looks at him, surprised. Hate you? No. She pauses. Sometimes I resented you. When my marriage was hard, I used to think, if Darek had insisted, maybe I would be living a different life. But that was not fair to you. Or to reality. He nods, relief flickering in his eyes. I used to check your name online, he admits. Search engines. Social media. Most of the time, I found nothing clear. Just small traces. Conference programs. Articles. I told myself you were fine, busy changing the world as usual. She smiles faintly. You stalked me. Quietly and respectfully, he says, hand to his chest. She laughs again. I tried to look you up once or twice, she admits. But then the children needed something, or my ex-husband started a fight, and life pulled me away. He studies her face. And now life pulled us back, he says softly. Sumi feels something move inside her that she has not felt in years. A mix of hope and fear, like standing at the edge of a pool after forgetting how to swim. We are not those students anymore, she says. We are older. More complicated. Darek nods. I know. We come with luggage now, not just backpacks. She smiles sadly. My daughter is 21, she says. My son is 19. They still see me as mom who must be serious. I do not know how they would react to the idea of me dating. The word feels strange on her tongue. My kids are 24 and 22, he says. My son thinks I should focus on legacy. My daughter thinks I should heal and find myself. Nobody talks about me simply being a man who might want to hold someone's hand. Sumi gives a gentle laugh. Is that what you want? She asks. He looks at her, eyes honest. I want to be less alone, he says. Not just surrounded by people. Truly seen. The words hang between them, heavy and soft. Let's be realistic, Sumi says after a moment. You live in another country. I live in mine. We both have demanding work. Our children. Our exes. We are not exactly a simple equation. Dark smiles faintly. I know. I am an engineer. I see all the variables. And, she presses. And I also know that not every problem has a neat solution, he answers. Sometimes you do not solve it. You live with it. You adjust. She folds her arms, considering. So what are you suggesting? He shrugs lightly. Nothing and something. Maybe we start with this. Talking. Sharing real things, not conference small talk. He looks into her eyes. We do not have to decide our entire future on a rooftop in Accra. She exhales slowly. You always did push me to take the first step, even when I wanted the full map. He smiles. Maps can be wrong. Steps are real. She leans back against the railing, feeling the metal cool through her blouse. One step, she repeats softly, as if testing the weight of the idea. Their phones buzz almost at the same time, a strange harmony. Sumi checks hers. A message from her daughter. Mum, send me that recipe, please. She smiles, types a quick reply. Dark glances at his screen. A message from his ex-wife. Don't forget the video call with Lonnie tomorrow about tuition. He sighs, puts the phone back in his pocket. Sumi notices. Everything okay? She asks. Real life reminding me that it still exists, he says. Sometimes I feel like my entire world is split into tabs. Work tab. Father tab. Ex-husband tab. Friend tab. And somewhere hidden me tab. Sumi nods slowly. I know that feeling. I have responsible professional and reliable mother. The me tab is always put in the background whenever something crashes. They share a quiet smile, united by a kind of tiredness that only people who have carried too much can understand. Maybe we can help each other click that me tab more often, he suggests gently. She gives him a long look. You always did talk nonsense that sounded wise, she says. He chuckles. I will take that as a compliment. The evening stretches on with stories. Sumi talks about the first time she taught a large class, hands shaking, voice steady. Dark shares about his startup almost collapsing when a partner ran away with funds. They confess how, in the worst parts of their marriages, they sometimes imagine just walking out with nothing but a backpack and a bus ticket. But we stayed, Sumi says. For the children. For fear. For habit. For the mortgage, Dark adds dryly, and she laughs. As the cafe begins to thin out, a waiter approaches. We are closing in 30 minutes, please, he says politely. Of course, Dark replies. When the waiter leaves, he looks at Sumi. I do not want this to end here, he says. She feels a small shock at the straightforwardness. Neither do I, she admits. But we cannot sit on this rooftop forever. No, he agrees. But we can decide not to throw this connection away again. Not without trying. The word trying sits in her chest, heavy and hopeful. Tomorrow, he says slowly, there is a free afternoon in the program. No sessions for either of us. Would you like to see the city with me? Not as tourists with cameras. Just as two people walking. She hesitates. Her mind immediately lists practical worries, emails, presentations, fatigue. Underneath them, a quieter voice whispers, what if this is foolish? What if it hurts later? Another voice answers, what if it heals something? She looks at him, at the lines near his eyes that were not there before, at the way he waits without rushing her. Where would we go? She asks. He smiles. We could start with somewhere simple. A quiet cafe. A bookshop. Maybe the beach if the weather is kind. She thinks of waves of open sky. Her heart, tired from years of holding back, lifts slightly. All right, she says. Let's walk the city. His smile widens, slow and warm. Then it is a date, he says casually, then quickly adds. I mean not, she laughs. Dark, relax. You can call it a date. Words will not kill us. Feelings might, he mutters under his breath. She pretends not to hear, but she does. When they finally leave the rooftop, the lobby is quieter. The conference banners flutter slightly in the air from the automatic doors. Good night, Sumi says as they stand near the elevator. Good night, he replies. They both hesitate, that strange moment where two people decide whether to hug, shake hands, or just nod. In the end, he opens his arms slightly, a silent question. She steps forward, answering it. The hug is brief but full. She feels the solid warmth of his shoulder, the faint smell of soap and city air. He feels the softness of her hair against his cheek. They pull back at the same time, both a little startled by how right and how strange it feels. Sleep well, he says, voice soft. You too, she answers. She steps into the elevator, and as the doors close, they hold each other's gaze like a promise they are not brave enough to say aloud yet. When she reaches her floor, she walks to her room feeling lighter and heavier at the same time, as if her heart has been rearranged. Alone in his room, Dark sits on the edge of the bed, shoes off, shirt unbuttoned at the collar. The city noise seeps faintly through the window glass. He thinks of the day, of Sumi's laughter, of the shadow that crossed her face when she spoke of her marriage. He realizes that the girl he once loved has become a woman with stories he has not heard, scars he did not watch form. The idea aches and excites him. He picks up his phone, opens a blank message, then closes it again. Too soon, he tells himself. Then he opens it again, types, "Thank you for tonight. It was good to see you. Really see you." He considers the words, then hits send before he can overthink them. A few minutes later, his phone buzzes. Her reply, "Me too. Sleep. Tomorrow we walk the city, remember?" He smiles at the screen, a small, foolish smile no one is there to judge. He lies back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in a long while, tomorrow does not feel like another page of the same routine. It feels like a road bending towards something unknown, and maybe, just maybe, something kind. Morning light fills the breakfast hall in soft gold, reflecting off glass pitchers and warm trays of food. Sumi arrives first, dressed in a simple dark green top and light trousers, her hair pulled back loosely. She picks a quiet table near the windows, watching palm trees sway outside. When Dark eventually walks in, spotting her instantly, something warm moves through him, like recognition, like arrival. He walks over with a light step, holding 2 cups of tea. "I guessed you still prefer tea in the morning," he says. She smiles, surprised. "You remembered?" "Some things stay," he replies, placing the cup before her. They eat slowly, talking about nothing urgent. How the city smells like sea and spice in the mornings, how conferences always serve too many pastries, how the weather feels gentle today. When they finally step outside, walking along a quiet road lined with almond trees, their conversation settles into a natural rhythm. Sumi tells him about her son's habit of disappearing into music for hours. He shares that his daughter recently started painting. Their lives, once entirely separate, begin to braid together in small details. At a bookshop tucked between a cafe and an art stall, they wander through narrow aisles. Sumi picks up a poetry collection, reading a line aloud. Dark listens as if the words come from her, not the page. Outside, they buy fresh coconut water from a vendor. "We are acting like tourists," Sumi laughs. "No," Dark says gently. "We're acting like people who finally got time." She holds his gaze for a moment, feeling her heart slow into something calm and sure. They continue walking without hurry, the city unfolding around them like a quiet blessing neither of them expected. By late afternoon, they arrive at the shoreline. The beach is quiet, touched by soft wind and a wide sky. Waves roll toward them with slow confidence, breaking into white foam at their feet. They sit on a low stone wall, shoes off, sand cool beneath their toes. Sumi watches a child chase a kite along the water. Dark watches her. "You look peaceful," he says. She lets out a breath she didn't know she was holding. "I forgot I could feel peaceful in someone's presence," she admits. He nods. Same. For a while they say nothing. The world is large but gentle, time moving without pressure. Then Sumi speaks softly. "We can't pretend this is simple." "I'm not pretending," Dark replies. "I know exactly how complicated our lives are. Careers, countries, children with opinions, luggage that isn't physical." She gives a small, tired smile. "So what do we do with this connection?" He picks up a small seashell and turns it in his palm. "We carry it honestly," he says. "No promises we can't keep. No pressure. Just truth." She tilts her head. "Truth can be heavy." "It can," he agrees. "But it can also be light. Like choosing to talk. Choosing to stay in touch. Choosing not to disappear again." She looks out at the ocean. "I don't want to lose this," she whispers. "Not again." He places the shell gently in her hand. Then we won't. The wind lifts her hair as she closes her fingers around the shell. In that simple gesture, something shifts, something small yet unmistakably real. Behind them, the sun dips gently toward the horizon, painting the sky in soft colors that feel like hope. They leave the beach as evening approaches, walking back slowly toward the city. The streets grow quieter, the air cooler, and street vendors begin packing up their goods. Near the hotel, they stop at a small roadside stand selling grilled corn. Sumi buys one for each of them. They stand there eating like old friends who forgot how to be shy. "Do you ever think about second chances?" she asks between small bites. "All the time," he replies. "Life rarely gives clean ones. Mostly it gives crooked, imperfect chances." She smiles. "Like this one." "Exactly," he says. "Not shiny, not easy. But real." When they reach the hotel entrance, warm light spills onto the pavement. Sumi pauses, holding her half-eaten corn. "I leave tomorrow afternoon," she says quietly. "I know. And you?" "Evening flight." There is a long silence. People walk past them, carrying bags, talking, living their separate stories. "We have to decide something," she says. He nods. "Yes." She takes a breath. "I don't want a long-distance romance full of pressure and expectations. I don't want to pretend we can rearrange our entire lives overnight." "Neither do I," he answers. "But I also don't want to shut this door. Not when it finally opened again." She studies his face. It carries lines of age, but also softness she remembers from youth. "So what do we choose?" she whispers. He steps closer, voice low. "We choose to stay in each other's lives." Slow, honest, steady. No deadlines. Her shoulders relax. "I can live with that." "Me too." They stand there in the warm Accra evening, two middle-aged hearts learning that love doesn't have to be loud to be true. Upstairs, they sit together in the lobby lounge, a final quiet moment before the day ends. A soft lamp glows above them, casting warm shadows. Sumi rests her hands on her lap, the seashell from the beach still in her pocket. Dark leans back, watching her with a tenderness he doesn't try to hide. "Do you think," she begins slowly, "that we met again because of timing or coincidence?" He smiles. "I think we met because life knew we were finally grown enough to handle each other." She laughs softly. "Grown enough. That sounds right." They talk for another hour, about books, regrets, childhood memories, the foods they miss from home, the strange way time feels when two people reconnect. Eventually she stands. "I should sleep," she says. "Tomorrow will come quickly." He rises too. "I'll walk you to your door." On the quiet hallway, their footsteps echo gently. When they reach her room, she turns to him. "Thank you," she says softly. "For the company. For the honesty. For not pretending." He nods. "Thank you for meeting me where I am. And for letting me meet you where you are." For a moment, neither moves. Then she steps forward and hugs him. Not brief, not cautious, but warm and slow. He holds her with equal softness, careful but not distant. When they part, her eyes shine with something tender and steady. "Good night, Darek." "Good night, Sumi." She enters her room, closing the door gently. The next day, they meet in the lobby before parting for their separate flights. No grand speeches. No dramatic promises. Just two adults who understand the weight and gift of their years. Sumi adjusts the strap of her bag. "I'll message you when I land," she says. "I'll message you before you do," he jokes lightly. They share a small, knowing smile. The kind only people who survived heartbreak and still chose softness can share. As she turns toward the taxi line, he watches her walk with the familiar quiet confidence he once loved and has somehow grown to admire even more. She pauses, looks back one last time, and lifts the small seashell he gave her. His chest warms. He raises a hand in response. No words needed. She gets into the taxi, the door closing with a gentle thud that does not sound like an ending. Darek stands there until the car disappears into the flow of traffic. Then he exhales, slow and full. For the first time in many years, he feels the future open. Not wide, not certain, but enough. Enough to build something new. Enough to stay connected. Enough to try. And somewhere between the city and the sky, two separate journeys continue. Gentle, grown, honest, carrying the quiet beginning of love rediscovered. Please, like, share, and subscribe.